I thought that the movie, Chained, was very, very effective, and one of the things I loved about it was the fact that it kind of, while not excusing the actions of your character, it found a humanity in this otherwise monstrous character. Is that part of what appealed to you about it?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I think, it's tough, because there's two different definitions here. Like, one is how I feel as a person, and then the other is how I feel as an actor. As a person, I don't have any empathy towards people like I portrayed, like serial killers, spree killers, people that commit murders. I think to cross that line and to harm another human being in a malicious way and to lay in wait to wreak havoc and to cause violence, I think is horrific, and I think is just one of the most heinous things a human being can do to another. And I think that they all should be put away and or taken out. I mean, I really do believe that. I have no sympathy or even empathy for those types of people. But as an actor, you can't approach the role like that. You can't bring your own personal feelings about it. Otherwise you'll portray the character incorrectly. So you can't portray the character like a monster. You have to portray the character like a human being, and that's what, in fact, makes him so horrible and so monstrous. And so one, as an actor, would, just approach him as a human being and build his morality off of what's right and wrong and true and false. Give it a much different foundation than what you or I would have.
Right.
So you start there, and so you approach it in a very kind of psychological way. Otherwise, you're not going to help tell the story correctly. It has to be. The trick about Chained was not so much about Bob himself, but how to get away with telling the story with this kid, and what becomes of that household, Bob's household.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's really the way you approach it.
Well, another thing that struck me about your performance was your voice work in it. And it's a very distinctive voice. Can you give me an idea of kind of the process of building the voice for that character?
Yeah, I mean, it was just an idea that I had that I brought into Jennifer, and she liked it, so we used it, and it was something that I worked on for a few weeks and maybe a month or so, and it's just an impediment. It's an actor's thing that you can, there's ways to do that. I don't want to bore you with actor details, but you learn techniques on how to do those kinds of things with your tongue and your teeth, and you have to figure out a way that you can do it without thinking about it, and be able to say the dialogue without letting the impediment act for you. Just the impediment exists in you, and then you still are.
Well, what it
makes sense to you?
Yeah, it absolutely does. Well, what it gives the character, I think, I mean, in my take of it, I mean, you really get a sense that this character is stuck in a place psychologically through the voice. I mean,
that's the idea. The idea is that you give these hints of neuroses and kinks in his psyche. Yeah.
Do you find that starting from because I think about a lot of your great performances and the voice in this, the physicality of a Men in Black. Do you find that the externals are a good place to kind of start and build a character for you generally?
I go both ways. It's a good question. I mean, I do both. Start the story and make sure I know the story as well as anybody else does, and I realize, in the true sense of the word, I realize the story, and I let that realization or those realizations of the story influence my choices as an actor, and then and that has both internal stuff and external stuff connected to it.
Right. Well, when we announced that you were going to be on our program, you have a lot of fans out there. They're very excited to hear from you. So they submitted a bunch of questions for you. Do you mind if I just ask a couple of quick ones?
No, please do. Go ahead.
Let me see here. They wanted to know, Carol wanted to know, will you ever be doing TV again? Is it a format that you'd be anxious to return to?
I do want to do it again, yeah. I almost did it again with Ethan Hawke. And NBC bought the project from us, but then they never made it. So I'm hoping to maybe that will work out somewhere else when it frees up with Ethan and I. If not, yeah. I mean, the answer to that is yeah. I would like to do it. It just has to be the right project and the right amount of episodes a season.
Right. Real Blog Chris wants to know, they want me to ask you about the status of your film Johnny and Me.
Johnny and Me is kind of held up right now. It's not happening anytime soon, but the script is still mine, and I still want to do it at some point. Mm-hmm. But it's not going to be made anytime soon. And finally, Blue Velvet, Vincent D'Onofrio Page wants me to ask you about the you just signed on to appear in the second season of Tales Beyond the Pale, and I like those guys very much that put that series together. Tell me what your character is like in that. We're going to do it. We start rehearsals on Monday, actually, and we perform live on the 2nd. I don't want to tell you what it's about, but it's a really cool story. And we do it. I don't have it in front of me right now, the information, but we're going to perform it live on the 2nd of October, and in New York. And so you should go on the website and find out where and when. But yeah, I'm doing it again with the same director, Joe Maggio, and Larry Fessenden producing it. And this is a really cool story, and I play a really cool character in it. But it has more than one character in it. The other one that I did was pretty much just one character. Mm-hmm. But this has several characters, but I play one of the more outstanding characters in it.
I think those are really exciting projects. I like that.
Oh, they're awesome. They're so much fun to do.
Yeah. Tell me about your directing work, because I saw your film Don't Go in the Woods, and I loved it. I thought it was so unique. Is directing something that you took to right away? Is it something that you're anxious to do again? Yeah, I'm going to do it again. It's going to be completely different than that one, and it has to be something that I have the time for, and I think it's worth committing a couple of years to. And the next one will be a little bigger budget, not too much bigger. I mean, that one we did for $100,000. And we shot it in 12 days. And the next one will probably be a little bigger with a longer, not too much bigger, but with a longer shooting schedule and a little bit more money. But that's what, Johnny and Me was going to be the next one, but it won't be now. And so I'm working on this other thing. But thanks for seeing it. Yeah, I thought it was terrific. But with directing independent films, and you experienced the polar opposite of the kind of the frenetic pace of an independent film and the short shooting schedule in your first movie with Mr. Kubrick. Is there an advantage to limited time? Does it help at all, or do you always need more of it when you're directing a film? I don't know. I don't know what it's like to have been Stanley Kubrick. He was one of a kind, like most of the genius directors there are out there, and there's not a lot of them, but I wouldn't pretend to know what it's like to be one of them. And when it comes to the films that I made or am going to make, it all has to do with how much time you can afford. Mm-hmm. And you have to do it within that time the best you can, and have the most fun, and be as artistic as you possibly can be in that amount of time. That's basically how it's sorted out for me when I direct. I can't imagine what it's like to do it any other way. Mm. Well, I mean, Kubrick. Just to ask you one more quick question about Mr. Kubrick. For the past couple of years, we've been doing a series of interviews and special shows dedicated to his work, and we've talked to Matthew Modine and Malcolm McDowell and about 60 people that worked with him. And I mean, he had a very special way of working, but I think there's a misconception about him that he was very controlling with his actors. And what I've found from
not at all,
is the opposite.
No, he never talked about story or character or anything. Not with me, anyway. And no, he would come out on set and he would say, "What are you guys going to do?" And you would do it, and he would correct a couple of things for his shots. He'd say, "I'm going to put a camera here, a camera there, and I want you to move over there instead of over there." And then you would leave, and he would light it, and then you would come back, and you would do it a bunch of times until he thought he was done, and then you would leave it and move on to the next thing. So he was very much lens, like he saw things through a lens, and not at all involved in controlling his actors, at all.
Yeah.
I mean, that was my experience.
Well, and I'm sure that Kubrick was a director that you had an enormous amount of trust in. But
well, yeah. I mean, considering my age at the time, I could do nothing but trust him. Yeah.
Yeah, but when you're doing something very kind of equally difficult, like a Chained, like this character, I would imagine someone like Jennifer Lynch was essential in establishing a trusting relationship with her. True.
I like your questions.
Well, thank you.
You're asking some good questions. No, I think you're right. I think that. I mean, I only assume that most actors do it the way I do. I can't imagine doing it any other way. So, as an actor, you go in and you bring your character in, and the best directors leave you to it, and only help you when you seem stuck, or if you've missed a beat because you're overwhelmed with the next beat or the beat before that. And so they help you hone this idea that you brought in of how to tell their story correctly or how to help tell their story. And so they, like Jennifer, she's there right with you, like a cheerleader, egging you on to do it, and do it better. Like do this and do it your way, but do it that way. And, it's all very positive, and she rocks that. She really has a very kind of great attitude about it and loves the idea that an actor is bringing in this whole thing that she had no idea about, and just thrives on it,
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, very different than Kubrick, where he expects you to, it's unsaid. He expects you to show up, know your dialogue, have a character, and perform, and do it the best you're capable of every time. And I think Jennifer is like that in the same way, although she's much more involved and hands-on in the actual execution of it.
Well, she's very fearless. I mean, looking at all of the films that she's directed, they're all very dangerous.
Have you seen that documentary about the things she did in India? Have you seen that?
I did. Yes.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, she's so much like that on set. I mean, you just want to do the right thing for that woman when you're working with her. You want to do a good film for her. You want to help tell the story for her.
Well, Mr. D'Onofrio, I guess we're out of time, but thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure. You're a favorite of mine, and I hope we can do this again, possibly for my Kubrick series. It would be great to talk to you again.
Hey, just get in touch and we'll do it.